Tractate Yoma, page 4a, continuing our study in the Tractate of Yoma, continuing and stretching and prolonging the light of Yom Kippur this year. Top of the page, Litumas Beso, and the ritual impurity of the priest's home, meaning his wife. This is done lest he become impure through relations with a menstruating woman, which is ritual impurity lasting 7 days. Therefore he is removed from his home for 7 days. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, Bishlam Lididi Elefina Miluim. Hi, Netanya Ze Vize Mazino Love Kol Shiva Mikol Chatois Shehoyu Shom. Dehave Nami Hazal Bimiluim. Ela Lididach Dialft Misinai Hazal Misinai Mihavi. Mihavi Bimiluim. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan said to Rish Lakish, granted, according to my opinion, that I derive the halacha of sequestering from the inauguration. That explains that which is taught in the Braita with regard both to this priest engaged in the burning of the red heifer and the high priest prior to Yom Kippur. One sprinkles upon him for all 7 days the purification water mixed with ashes from samples from all the previous red heifers and offerings that were safeguarded there in the temple. The reason for this practice is that there was also sprinkling during the inauguration. However, according to your opinion, that you derive it from Sinai, was there in fact sprinkling in Sinai? According to your opinion, why are the priests sprinkled? Amrle l'tamech minicha bimiluim dam hochomayim holoi kashyo detani rabchio nichnesu mayim tachas dam el didach hazam misinai mihavi Amrle malab alma. Rish Lakish said to him, and according to your reasoning, does it work out well? At the inauguration, the sprinkling was with blood. Here, the sprinkling was with water. Rabbi Yochanan answered, that is not difficult, as Rabbi Chia taught. Yeah, that's a good question. Why was the sprinkling there with blood? What was the blood all about? Can anyone tell me? That is not difficult. Rabbi Chia taught water replaced blood, but both have the status of sprinkling. However, according to your reasoning, at Sinai, was there sprinkling at all? Rish Lakish said to him, the sages merely established a higher standard, and this sprinkling is not a requirement. Tanya Kavas says Rabbi Yochanan, a Bryce was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan that all the sequestering is derived from the inauguration. And the Bryce was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rish Lakish that it is derived from Sinai. Tanya Kavas Rish Lakish, Tanya Kavas Rabbi Yochanan. Okay. Bezois Yehoy Alan Koidesh Bima Shomer Benyon Mahi Beinyon Dimiluim Uma Imur Beinyon Dimiluim Aharoin Pereshiva Vishimish Yom Echad Moshe Maserloi Kol Shiva Kedei Lechanech Vavoido. A Braita was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan that the sequestering is derived from the inauguration, and a Braita was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rish Lakish that is derived from Sinai. The Gemara elaborates the Braita was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. It was stated with regard to the inauguration. With this, Aaron will come into the sanctuary with a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for burnt offering. Leviticus 16:3. To what is this term? With this referring? It is referring to that which is stated in the matter. What is the matter? It is the matter of the inauguration. In the matter that the priest was prepared for the inauguration, so too he is prepared for Yom Kippur. And what is stated in the matter of the inauguration? It is that Aaron, the priest, withdrew for 7 days and served one day, and Moses transmitted the Torah guidelines to him all 7 days in order to train him in the sanctuary service. ואף לדוירוס, כהן גודל פועל שבע, ושמש אחד, ושני תלמידי חכמים, מתלמידיו של מוישה, לאפוקי צידוקין, מועשרים לוי, כל שבע כדי לחנך ובוידו. And throughout the generations as well, the high priest withdraws 7 days prior to Yom Kippur and serves 1 day. And 2 Torah scholars from among the students of Moses, to the exclusion of Sadducees, who are not students of Moses, transmit the Torah guidelines to him all 7 days in order to train him in the sanctuary service. Mikan Amru Shivas Yomim Koidim Yom Kippur Mefrishin Kohen Godel Mibeis Lishkas Parhedrin וכשם שמפרישן כהן גודל כך מפרישן כהן הסוירף ספורו ללשכה שעל פני הבירה צפוין מזרח ואחד זה מאזינו לו כל שבעה מכל חטאויות שהיו שם. From there the sages said in the Mishnah, 7 days prior to Yom Kippur, the sages would remove the high priest, who performs the entire Yom Kippur service, from his house to the chamber of Parhedrin. And just as the sages would remove the high priest, so do they remove the high priest who burns the heifer from his house to the chamber that was before the Bira at the northeast corner of the courtyard on the Temple Mount. And with regard to both this priest from whom the sages sequestered prior to Yom Kippur and that priest whom the sages sequestered prior to engaging in the burning of the heifer, one sprinkles upon him for all 7 days of sequestering the purification water with ashes from all the previous red heifers and offerings that were safeguarded there in the temple. כאשר עשו ביום הזה ציווה השם לעשות לכפר עליכם לעשות אלו מעשי פרעה לכפר אלו מעשי יום כיפורים. And if you say that at the inauguration the sprinkling was with blood, and here the sprinkling was with water, you said water replaced blood. And it says in the verse, as has been done this day, so the Lord has commanded to make atonement for you. Leviticus 8:34. To do, these are the actions performed in the burning of the red heifer. To make atonement, these are the actions performed in Yom Kippur. This Braita then is proof for the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. B'hai bezos m'boyalei legufe b'par ben bakar l'chatas v'ayla oila. Amri il korban lechodei lemakra bazeh. O be'ele ma bezois shemat bino tarti. The Gemara analyzes the Braise. Okay, but the term with this, bezot, is required for the meaning of the verse itself. The priest is required to bring a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. The sages say in response, if the term comes to teach only with regard to the offerings, let the verse say, with this, bezeh, in the masculine referring to the bull, or with these, be'ela, referring to the bull and the ram. Why then may be derived, what then may be derived from the use of the feminine term bezot, which refers to neither the bull nor the ram, learned from these two conclusions, one with regard to the offerings and one with regard to sequestering. My v'omer, v'chitim yom kippurim kama hu, diboy b'risha kedesh kacha meluim, aval b'yom kippurim da'al maloi, inami kohen gadol kama hu, diboy b'risha al kohen gadol ba'al malo, toshima kasher osam. The Gemara continues its analysis of the Braise. What is the meaning of the term and it says? Why does the Braita cite an additional proof from another verse? Why wasn't the first proof sufficient? And if you say that it is on the first Yom Kippur when Aaron performed the service that the high priest requires sequestering, as we find in the inauguration when the priests were sequestered before being consecrated as priests, but on Yom Kippur in general, no. Subsequent high priests do not require sequestering. Or alternatively, if you say, if it is the first high priest who requires sequestering, as did all the priests during the inauguration, but subsequent high priests in general, no, they do not require sequestering before Yom Kippur. Then come in here that which it says in the verse, as has been done this day, so the Lord has commanded to do, meaning that this is a mitzvah for all generations. Tani goes to Resh Lakish, Moish Adaban Venis Kasavianan. Venis Kasavianan, Kayla Kavan Toyali, Schola Kedusha. Shenemar Ishkoin Kavad Hashem. Al Har Sinai. Zehaya Masyacher Seres Adibrois. Mas Achar Seres Adibrois. Shahaya Techila Abraham Yoim. David of Yossi Aglili. And a bride that was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rish Lakish that sequestering is derived from Sinai. Moses ascended in the cloud and was covered in the cloud and was sanctified in the cloud in order to receive the Torah for the Jewish people in sanctity, as it is stated in the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai. And the cloud covered him 6 days, and he called to Moses on the 7th day from the midst of the cloud. Exodus 24:16. This was an incident that occurred after the revelation of the 10 Commandments to the Jewish people. And these 6 days were the beginning of the 40 days that Moses was on the mount, and see Exodus 24:18. This is the statement of Yossi Aglili. The opinion of Yossi Aglili corresponds to that of Rish Lakish. Moses withdrew for 6 days before receiving permission to stand in the presence of God. Rabbi Kiva Oimer, Hashem, Yerosh Chodesh. Rabbi Kiva says this incident occurred before the revelation of the 10 Commandments to the Jewish people, and when the Torah says, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, it is referring to the revelation of the divine presence that began on the new month of Sivan, which was 6 days prior to the revelation of the 10 Commandments.